Hey guys, and welcome to the TCC podcast, where we discuss everything coffee.
Welcome everybody to the TCC podcast. So today is going to be a good one. It's going to be the official intro. So today,
20 episodes later!
Only
But
17.
we warned you, so you know this. So today it's me, Stefan. We got the whole team. So it's Stefan here, and finally, Mr. Costa next to me.
Yes, Mr.
Welcome,
Costa
Mr.
Rica.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So and then we've got Mr. Pedantic. You all know him. Christian, you'll get to know him today a little
Hello.
bit better.
No introduction.
Hopefully. He's
And then-
so complicated and so sophisticated.
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 That will take you 100 episodes to really, truly know
There
it.
we
Oh
go.
my goodness.
And then we've got, of course, Mr. Theo. So
Even the camera's blushing for Theo.
Wow.
So if you guys are watching the YouTube, it is even the camera kind of just like took a dip. It wanted to show off Theo's rockin' flip flops.
Oh yeah.
the navy ones.
So the navy Adidas flip flops. We don't get to see the navy ones every day, so he kind of dressed up for this occasion.
Ones, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Costa.
So
Get into the
I'm someone gonna get
Yeah, coffee at hand. Not topic at hand,
I thought
coffee at hand.
Coffee in hand.
Yeah, in and okay. So today we are having Urban Grinds coffee. They have a nice Nicaragua marsalessa.
From the Rajuanse estate.
Yes. Yeah, are you gonna leave me to it, or are you gonna take it? No,
No, man.
I'm just kidding. I'm just
I saw the look on your face, reading half the words there.
Oh,
I
that's
thought,
good,
okay,
that's
guys, so
good.
apparently
The
our team
Mr.
effort-
Pronunciator wants to take his job back.
Guys, the Beatles are splitting.
So awesome. So Urban Grinds, I don't really know. It's the first time I'm having their coffee. But of course, marsalessa is my favorite. So
Definitely, that's why we left you to do the coffee in cup.
Okay, so it's grown in the mountain valley of Matagalpa.
Matagalpa.
There we go. Red and yellow katwai, marsalessa variety, natural process, altitudes 1,100 meters to 1,200.
So basically, this is a blend of varieties.
Yes.
Yes.
It is a red
Red
katwai,
and yellow katwai.
yellow katwai,
And
red
marsalessa.
bourbon, yellow katwai, and marsalessa. So this is actually not 100%.
Why do you say bourbon?
Well, doesn't
It's
say.
only no, it's red
Oh,
and
red
yellow
and
katwai.
yellow katwai. Oh, sorry, I
Yes.
didn't read.
Okay, good. So, but yeah, it's a mix of varieties, and then yeah, the producer is Ramiro Ortiz.
Ortiz.
Yeah. Jose, please help. Esperanza Farm. Okay,
That's
cool.
it.
Okay, that's the boring side out of it. Okay, let's taste
Oh, I love that part of the coffee.
it. No, it's
And
me. It's me
No,
pronouncing
but I love it
everything,
when you
so-
speak foreign to me. Eh?
There we go. There we go. Lekker.
South Africans really get that one.
Yeah, you definitely do.
It's an old reference.
All right.
You throw in about half the water in your cup, it just rounds out very beautifully.
Yeah, I'm also going for that 1 to 12 ratio. What did you end up on?
No, I topped it up to 1 to 14, but
1 to 14?
I have to be honest, like I was very unpedantic with this coffee. I spent like no time on
Oh yeah,
the
that's better.
analyzation of the coffee itself. So it's roasted a bit darker than what we used to for coffee from the Rajuanse estate. And also,
But when I said that, you thought I was crazy.
yeah, but you've been out of the coffee game for a while. And I have sleep deprivation, so more like sleep desperation. But anyway, so it was a bit darker. We went a little bit hot on the water, as well as about 89 degrees Celsius, just kind of because we wanted to get started, we want to get rolling. And I have to say that I used a Kalita specifically because of the fact that I wanted to finish quicker, and yet I still was able to get to 4 minutes 30 seconds.
Oh wow.
On a relatively old coffee.
That's just habit. It's like
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just.
I want to try something else for 4:30.
Yeah.
4:30
I'm
finish.
pedantically stuck to one ratio.
So
No,
One
but I have to
pouring
say,
rate.
I think when we should now be in like a 1:16 for where we topped it up to now. It rounds out very beautifully. It kind of brings that Rajuanse elements to it and the kind of sweet acidity of the katwai
that
as well.
yellow katwai popping.
Yes.
And that marsalessa nectarine really punches
Yeah.
through at the
I'll just
1:16, slightly cooler because I
Yes.
actually topped it up with cooler water. So
Yes.
very nice.
I'll just drink it. That's fine.
You always
It's
just
nice.
drink it.
It's nice.
Yes, just enjoy.
Okay, so the topic at hand, the official introduction.
Yes.
It's not every day we get to sit around the table with everybody, introducing the long beloved and missed,
Awaited.
fourth portion
Prophesied.
of everything coming together. The whole team for now sitting around the table. So, Mr. Costa, welcome, brother.
Yes, thank you so much.
They know you already, even though you've never been here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
they have the way of kind of paving the way. They create an identity for you, and then you just kind of live it up to it.
You're
Apparently.
gonna have to.
I hope so.
You're gonna
I
have
hope
to.
so. My goodness.
That's good.
Yeah, so I would say let's jump like straight into the official. So of course myself and Stefan, we don't need to introduce ourselves. I think as they discuss who they are, obviously how they got into coffee and so on and so forth, I'm sure a few things will pop up that we didn't mention into the intro, purely because it was pointless telling the whole story and then retelling it again. So I know that Christian has kind of given us a little bit of a
No, I kind of give you like
that
a full.
one time we asked how did you get
index,
into
the-
coffee and all of that. So with that said, let's jump to Mr. Costa.
At
So,
the end of the day, it was
brother,
done.
Mr. Juan, like
End
how
of the
did you
day.
get into coffee, man?
Yeah, that's an interesting story.
Well, we have time.
So I was in a nutshell almost like, I wouldn't say forced, but like pushed into coffee. So I know I didn't meet these gentlemen on accident.
Oh wow.
So I was retrenched at one stage, was without work, blah blah blah, and then I thought, you know what, let's try coffee business, get into the coffee industry, and I went to one of the local coffee shops that I enjoyed very much so. I'm not going to name any names because I don't enjoy their coffee anymore.
Ouch! So you could have said it and not said that because obviously
now you definitely don't need to mention them.
You can obviously get that it's the first time that he's on the show because we do always say there's no right or wrong. There's just not our palate.
Yes, it's just different.
But don't worry, we'll forgive you. You're wearing this beautiful shirt.
Thank you.
You're looking handsome. You sound amazing.
Stop it.
Yeah,
Flattered.
just excuse these two. They are lovers on the side. So. just
But anyway,
kidding.
He's not wrong.
Like brothers.
you went to your local coffee shop.
Yeah, so I went to
Yes.
the coffee shop. I visited quite frequently, and I went to the managers there, and I asked them if they could give me like some training around being a barista, making coffee, because I wanted to get into the coffee business, but I never made a cup of coffee on my own before. Didn't know even made my own espresso. So I was like, okay, how am I gonna get into this business? I can't even make a cup.
So
for
what
myself.
were you drinking before you got to that position?
So I
So
would,
he grew up on re-coffee.
No, Andrew. Hey, I grew up at Nescafe.
Sorry, I
Okay?
mean
like, don't
Nescafe.
push me all the way down, man.
I started on Rick.
He
I grew
started
up
on re-coffee.
on the tracks, not the other side. I was on the tracks.
no, so I also grew up with re-coffee. You know,
Okay.
4 sugars, milk.
Nice,
Yes,
nice.
yeah.
Okay.
Two spoons of Rick coffee, at least.
No, that's
Just the
I-
one
I-
spooner.
No, that's even too low.
You had
for
to have
me,
it
man.
strong.
Yeah.
Oh, you went three spooner.
spoons, 4 sugars.
Oh.
now,
Three
all the way.
spoons.
Yeah.
Man, at some
Okay.
point you drank dark roast espressos.
Yes,
True.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we're not
that we
gonna say
actually
anything
know.
about
Yes,
that.
no.
So yeah, that's where I started, and then I would go to the local coffee shop, enjoyed cappuccino, also with a boatload of sugar in it. So I went to the owners then. I was like, "Can you give me some training around being a barista?" And they said, "You know, we don't really know much about coffee. Evidently, they said go to this guy. This guy's crazy about coffee. He can tell you everything about the bean and everything." And I was like, "Sure, okay. I need to go and talk to this guy." I was like, "Okay, where's his shop?" No, there. Colonnade Retail Park. The shop's called Couple Cafe. I was like, okay, cool. So I rocked up there first day. I still remember coming in to the shop that first day. I saw some handsome ass fella. Husking.
He's sitting to his right now.
I saw some
It's
handsome
hot,
ass.
I'm not blushing.
Like I said, excuse these two.
D asking some coffee, And at the time, I didn't know what the hell he was doing. And then I came and I said to him, he's the owner here. And then he introduced me to Mr. Theo. Fortunately, he was there. I later realized that he's actually hardly ever there, forever on the run, forever on the go. So I was very fortunate to catch him that day. And that's how we ended up meeting. That's how we ended up working together. And that's where my coffee journey started. So I went through full barista training with Mr. Theo. And yeah, I've never looked back since. Now it's actually ruined coffee for me. You know, once you learn about coffee, you can't just drink any cup of coffee. So
so I'm the only one without full barista training.
No, but
you've done portion. It's pretty much full now.
And you're just building a barista puzzle, man. You got about 2 pieces left.
Something like that. Yeah.
But no, we also have to say from Costa's story. He's saying like, no, we just had a talk. So I was obviously busy de-husking coffee. I think he's talking about Theo, the handsome guy inside the store. But,
no, it must have been you.
So he kind of came up, we started having conversation, and we were standing at the brew bar, and believe it or not, we had like 7 methods on the table. So we started having some conversations. He asked a bit about
you were
coffee.
having fun.
Yeah, no, we were actually playing with coffee when we still had, the days when we had time to play with coffee.
Yes.
And it was about a year ago.
Yes, yeah.
Today.
Yes,
Oh
yeah.
wow!
It's about a year ago today.
It's a year ago. Well, not.
No,
I don't
it would have
think
been
today,
Sunday.
but this
Sunday
month,
would be a year
I think
ago.
This Sunday it would be 1 year.
This
This
Sunday
coming
would be 1
Sunday.
year.
Oh my word! It took a year. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But so this Sunday would have been a year, but came in because it was a Saturday. We were messing around with coffee, having some conversation. So also to say, he's the only person that I've ever met that dehusked coffee,
Red honey processed
coffee before pulling his first espresso.
Or even before his
And
interview, man.
Yes. So even
And I had no idea what I was doing.
yes, no. So I was
Like,
explaining
yeah.
the whole process of de-husking and processing coffee. Theo and Melissa had to leave to one of the shops, which is the usual. And so he stayed for like another hour and a half de-husking coffee. And there's this handsome Portuguese guy standing with me with tasting coffee, talking coffee, and to find somebody that could be ignited by that passion and then kind of fell into it, and someone who I can also say could pedantically kill a flat white. Or pedantically
Traditional
pull
flat
a
white,
cortado. And he's like, bruh, 27. Not 27.1, not
27.
26.9, 27. And when he tops up the 1-to-1 ratio of coffee to milk, then it is 54. Not 54.1, not 53.9, 54.
100%.
No, man.
Very proud of that.
Two pedantics sitting on the right over here.
Yeah,
And then he
definitely.
kills it.
Definitely.
But now, if I recall the story correctly, you actually had a bigger plan before you
Yes,
obviously met us, and your plan was something to do with Portugal and coffee.
Yes, yeah.
Obviously, Portugal being a huge coffee culture, and so just like tell the the listeners a bit more about that.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to immigrate to Portugal, honestly, like a week before I met you.
He is a pora, so it makes sense.
No, don't say it like that. He's a Portuguese. It's a South African joke,
Sorry,
okay?
this South African. Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry, he's a Portuguese.
We'll send out the official apology letter next week.
I'm kidding.
So actually, like a full week before I met you, I was like
didn't know.
set on leaving to Portugal and doing business there involving coffee. And then once I had a discussion with you, once I had a discussion with this beautiful gentleman, like just a vision that you guys had. I was so glued towards it, and that's why we are all sitting here at this table, and that's why I'm sitting here trying to build TCC and where we want to go with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
that's why I'm still here. In
Woo!
South Africa.
Now, of course, we can introduce him. He's not just Jovan Costa. He is.
Jovan Marco
Marco.
Costa.
Oh, okay, so here's Jovan Marco Costa Kryptonite. No, he's basically the cryptocurrency expert at the table.
I don't know about
And so-
expert, but
He's just
Well,
a
at
barista.
the table.
table.
At the
You are the
table.
expert.
And
Okay,
so,
okay.
for me, it was this whole thing of course, he's got the passion for the coffee, and then he got introduced to a different side of coffee, and we started chatting about the TC coin, and he was like, oh, you into cryptocurrency? So we started chatting, and then we realized he's properly into the NFT space, the non-fungible token space. And so of course he started teaching us quite a bit, showing us different things that we could read, and so he really clued us up on, you know, what happens in that space, which I'm proud to say that he's part of the team, because without that type of depth knowledge, we wouldn't be able to really pull off this whole coin. You know, because it's way bigger than just the four of us sitting at the table. Definitely. And so yes, like definitely we're happy to have you here, man.
Yes, happy to be here.
Yeah, so
yes,
finally.
It's gonna be today's joke. So Mr. Christian, like, okay, I think let's jump into, and now it's almost sounding like I'm trying to lead the thing, but I think what I want us to kind of do, especially on the official introduction, is maybe tell a bit of your heart around the coin itself. So as we sit around the table, we have 4 people that we've put into or decided to you know, choose our own kind of niche inside this or you know, this market, where, as we just mentioned, that Costa fits into the NFT and the cryptocurrency side. I know that Christian, obviously full on, you know, heading into barista championships and like really in the competitive side.
Yes, sir.
Obviously brings that love of the game to the table. Of course, to my right here, Mr. Stefan, who ever, like, long before he ever knew that, you know, we're gonna even meet, he had a heart for coffee farmers. And it's just how destiny brought the 4 of us together to start this ball to the roll. And we know it's not gonna end with us. We might be out of this picture, you know, in a while. We're just here to kind of get the ball rolling. So Christian, maybe share a bit, you know, your heart around the TC coin, and how, you know, how you're involved and why you're involved, you know, from where you come from.
Well, I think we've kind of established, or we've had a few conversations just about how I got into coffee because of the love of people. Coffee to me is something that brings people together from different spaces, and that would not necessarily meet under different circumstances. And I think in any industry, obviously, you find that. But because I want to say the norm is, hey man, let's go get a coffee. Even if you go and you get like a frappuccino at Starbucks, or you drink a hot chocolate, or the statement is still, let's go get coffee, because there's a connection kind of element that we connect to coffee itself. And so I think how coffee kind of connected all of us, and how it pushed us into this space, and then afterwards obviously learning about coffee and knowing the kind of work that went into it to create something that is this beautiful. And I know that not everybody necessarily shares my perspective on what coffee is. Now making a cup of coffee for me is to help somebody to slow down. Which is funny because we never do.
Unfortunately.
Which is
Although
funny.
actually we do. Like right now we're moving slow because we're here sitting with a cup of coffee in front of us.
Yeah, but I'm still running in 7th gear. But I have to say, because I've seen and I've worked in obviously spaces where people run and where people kind of give their all into what they're busy with, and to see how they can tire people out, or how they forget to make time and space for themselves to live out what they enjoy. Using a cup of coffee to have them slow down for 5 minutes. Saying that, having a client understand what the value is of what they're eating, of what they're drinking. And I'll tell you why I made the mistake. I was thinking ahead, because sometimes I really feel like we're giving, and you can judge me for this is just an analogy. Sometimes I feel like we're giving a gemstone to a baboon.
Right. It means nothing to them, yeah.
We have people that come, they add 5 sugars to a coffee that so much blood, sweat and tears and effort went into to create something that's beautiful. You educate a barista as far as possible to be able to tell you where it's from, who picked it, how many people were involved, and then you're just like, no, I don't want to taste it, I know what I like, and you add 4 spoons of sugar. Some people use tablespoons. But
in a 180 ml.
Don't start. But to have people understand kind of what goes into it, to I think kind of create a perspective of what the space could be, and to then appreciate what the farmer who leaves his kid at home alone, or the coffee picker who leaves his kid at home alone, to come create something that we take for granted and just say, barista, can I have it like extra hot, boil the milk, 4 sugars, and then like take out the caffeine afterwards,
with some creamer.
With some creamer on top. And not really appreciating what it could be, and like the people are like, oh, you're like such a snob, you're such a snob, man. Like, what the heck's wrong with you? Coffee was ruined for me. I think like it was for all of us.
Yeah.
Because you get.
Yeah, I don't think it's ruined. I just think
It's a different
everybody needs to know about it.
There's a high standard.
So everybody's life needs to be ruined with
in somewhere.
in
No.
some-
I think we kind of
with coffee. But
we want to break it down to kind of build up that first perspective.
Yeah.
And to share, I think the love and the effort, because we have the privilege of knowing quite a few coffee farmers. Yeah, I'm too far today, so I appreciate that you doing it. Yeah,
He's moving
I'll
it
share.
closer.
Yeah, so Theo
He's
shared some
sharing.
coffee with Stefan.
I did not have enough today. so-
But
I think Mr. Pedantic poured it. He
Yeah.
forgot to overpour yours. But yes,
hey,
sorry.
they were all level.
I know.
I scored points on
I
that.
know. That's why he was finished first. Although it's always finished. Okay, back to the point.
No, so to understand the love that a coffee farmer puts into what he's creating, and then actually appreciate what goes into it and what it can be.
Yes.
And I think that's what kind of touched my heart, because we are consuming this thing every day and we don't understand what goes into creating it. And there are people, I think most people are not going to care. Most people are just not going to care. They're going to be like, yeah, you know what, this benefits me to get involved in this project, great. And then you're going to have those few people that's like, listen, okay, but I'm really, and we have people like that in the mainstream coffee industry already. We have people like Sasa, we have a few other people involved in this space that focus on actually empowering and uplifting those kinds of communities, which is so amazing, because if we can empower them, it will automatically empower us. And it sounds like such a selfish reason, but I think it's an amazing reason to be selfish.
But everybody wins. That's
Yes.
at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, but everybody wins when they are empowered and they get to empower us. We're giving back. So it's gonna be a back and forth empowering, and everybody wins.
Oh, with that said, it makes me think of, remember one time we had a meeting and we had to have a discussion around your personal topics that you had to do some research, and I remember this vividly. Tian came to me and Christian was like, guys, this is an endless fight that we're gonna just lose.
Oh, I remember this conversation.
And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, well, and he started in the cycle. The farmer struggles to grow proper, then he sells for cheap. The cheap then is just roasted to cheveries, which is just extracted to crap, which then doesn't make money back for the farmer, so the farmer can't go better. And it was this endless fight. And I remember your heartache. Like you had this pain in your heart going, how the heck do we fix this?
I think because, and I know that, I think today's episode will go long, because obviously sharing your heart, you have to share a little piece of this. But on that specifically, because farmers are not empowered enough, and because we love what we do, and we get to see the joy, we can live to live that passion.
Yes.
To know that a coffee farmer can't properly pay his pickers because he can't properly feed himself
Or his kids.
or his kids, and he has to go back, because that's the only way that he's going to survive. What's coffee going to look like when he wants to go back but doesn't need to go back?
Yeah, that would be huge.
Because and I think
difference.
I'll give just what the conversation was.
Yes.
Coffee farmers don't necessarily have money or don't necessarily understand, and it's phenomenal what's going on in the coffee space and how people are understanding how their production and looking after their coffee obviously affects flavor. But so many from what people we've spoken to, and so many other people's perspectives that they shared from their experiences were that they don't necessarily understand that their influence affects the coffee as much as it does, or they don't necessarily have the funds to create higher quality, better tasting coffee. So now they grow more, they don't clean it up because they believe that volume is going to be more money. Now it's Q graded lower, or it's lower quality, or it tastes not as well as it could have been. So now they paid less per kg or per pound.
Well, there's more, so they're picking faster, which means they're picking less dense.
Yeah. So you're picking everything, but you're not getting paid as much per pound, which means you're not getting paid anything really at all, which means that now there's bad coffee in the market, which means nobody's going to want to buy it, which means that he doesn't get money, which means he thinks he's going to need to pick more, which means that he's going to get paid even less. And so that's kind of how the cycle goes, and we never get to see an empowerment or an upliftment in that specific part, or for him to see what the effect is, or what his product or what his livelihood could be.
Exactly.
Because I can guarantee you that the coffee farmer probably has never seen the smiles that we get to see every day on people's faces when they taste that cup.
Exactly.
So to have people, and I think create a connection between the farmer where you can see the person enjoy his blood, sweat and tears, and where the person who takes it for granted can see what love, effort and time and sacrifice goes into making something that we drink every day, is going to create just such movement in the coffee world itself that we are going to rediscover what coffee could be.
Yeah, definitely.
And that, I think that's been the hope always, was exactly that. It's to grow the education for ourselves. And through growing in education, we realized how much we actually respect coffee.
Yeah.
And through respecting the coffee more, we just fell in love with it more and more and more. Which once it drives you to want to learn even more, which just drives you to bigger love. And so this respect thing, I think, is the one thing that's necessary. I would say in every single industry in the world, not just coffee. So if you're listening to this and you're like, geez, these guys are very, very much in love with coffee. This is for any industry, the industry that you love. It just conveniently turns out to be coffee for us.
Yeah.
And so,
and there are going to be wine drinkers that have a similar perspective.
Oh,
we have
yes.
chefs that are going to have a similar perspective.
Whiskey.
We have car enthusiasts that are going to have a very similar perspective. We had this in our shop, even a honey farmer. Literally was so upset by the honey that we were using, but it's just because we can only buy this to be able to make the things that we sell affordable.
Right.
I can go super premium honey, but then you're going to pay double for the meal or double for the drink.
Which means no one wants it because they don't want to pay that much.
Saying this now, we're the people that are selling low quality coffee just because but that's what people can afford. That's what. So obviously now we are at fault in many different spaces. Coffee just happens to be the one place that we find the value in, and a place where we want to make the change.
Yeah. Correct. And then to Mr. Costa, your heart.
Well,
why the TC coin?
Well, at the end of the day, it was just to, for me, I'm all about economical freedom, and what Mr. Christian was talking about now with this perpetual cycle that keeps happening with farmers that aren't able to sustain a certain livelihood, that then have to compromise on quality of the coffee that they produce, that then is then compromised through the people that purchase it, that the coffee that then is then served in stores. It's just a continuous cycle of poor product getting made and getting sold, and at the end of the day, with cryptocurrency, it just offers accessibility to anyone, especially with what we want to build with the standard of coffee. I mean, the thing is that if you want to buy rubbish coffee, and if you enjoy, that's obviously subjective, but I mean, I can't be charged more for buying an instant coffee that was roasted to chivalries versus paying for a cappuccino that a barista was then trained to pour me a certain ratio that I'm asking for. I mean, it's an art almost behind it.
Yes.
And now these people are busy charging the same amount for instant coffee that is then quality is not nearly the same.
Right.
So that's where we come into the ecosystem with what we are busy doing, also to standardize the stuff. I mean, because we are able to leverage blockchain technology, we can keep everyone to a certain standard, especially as the world moves into the evolution that we're busy moving into right now. We would be, I guess, at the forefront of building all of this, especially within the system that we are in currently.
I like
So
it.
that's what I love at the end of the day. It's just empowering these people that, I mean, as Christian said, and as you could see in the heart that he spoke it with, just empowering people financially, and especially with these coffee farmers, the pickers. I mean, it's almost like modern day slavery that they're busy going through.
Yeah, that's the big thing. And then there's a whole bunch of, I'm going to just call it mafia out there running this cheap coffee, pushing it out to people, stealing from the livelihoods that's just trying to stay alive for the benefit of their own pocket.
Exactly.
And no one is even doing something about it. Like
well, the thing is that what could they do? I mean, the farmers and all of the people that they are responsible for, there is no systems. I mean, the people that you're talking about that are in power, they control all the systems.
That's it.
What we are trying to build is a platform of accessibility to anyone. So anyone is able to access the protocol and the platform that we want to build. And that's what I love. I mean,
to a standard of a coffee.
Of course,
yes.
That freedom that anyone is able to partake with. And it holds a standard, because if you are able to educate people on what is busy going on, then people are able to make different decisions. They might not change their decisions, but at least they know what they're deciding about. They are educated now.
It's almost like putting the power back into the people's hands and leaving the choice up to them, whether they're going to stick to what they do or are they going to change it to make it better.
Yeah, because then there's a moral obligation. Because I mean, if you're doing something and you don't know that you're doing it, it's like whatever.
Yes.
But if you're doing something, knowing what you're doing, I mean, it's a different story.
Correct. Wow, that's a nice perspective. I like it.
Wisdom.
And so, of course, Mr. Stefan, tell us a bit about your heart, behind the coffee farmers. Like, I remember when he shared his story with me the very first time. I know that Dave's not heard this part, so I think it could be cool, for the listeners and for the two sitting on your right, the team that's not heard your heart in this.
Yeah.
It was amazing the first time he told me this part of his life, and so I would love for you to share it if you want to.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, my heart has always been for people. I've got a soft spot for people that's struggling, that's been misused, and all those kinds of stuff. So when I enjoy coffee, I've always loved coffee, and when I got into coffee and I've learned what coffee is all about and the farms and everything, I just realized that the people on the farms, the pickers, the workers, everybody it's cheap labor, and it breaks my heart that there's so many people that work so hard, not really getting anything for their hard work and all the labor they put in. And like you said, the people, there's so many people that controls them, that takes it for their own pocket, and that's sad to me, and it frustrates me and makes me angry, because why be so selfish, keeping these people in a state where they need to fight every day to have food on the table, to help their kids to have food in their stomach and that kind of stuff. So that's, for me, that's very heartbreaking, and I really want to change that. I want to go out and help them. I want to get to a point where we can empower them, give them a standard of life where they can, like you said, Christian, they don't have to worry about money, but they can do what they love.
Yeah.
So, and I know it's a big project that we're facing, we're all gonna tackle. But the thing is, for me, it's something that we're fighting for until the day I die. Until the day I die. So, for me, it's really a passion for me to go out and make a difference on the coffee farms, and then eventually, when there's a difference, we're gonna get better coffee and everything goes, the quality goes up. But for me, it's the most important part is to better their lives on the farms, to give them education, better nutrition, better water, just better life in general. So that's for me. That's why I'm in this thing.
Yes.
So I'm getting emotional, guys.
I can see it.
So
See, I told you guys, it's a deep story.
I think
so
and I love this because we really have never heard this before, and I am so glad and I'm so frustrated by it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because especially if you think about this specific statement that you made with regards to having people who are thinking every day about what the children are going to eat, about the roof that they need over their head. At the end of the day, that's not something that coffee farmers in Colombia struggle with.
No.
That's something that everyone in the world is consistently thinking about.
Yeah.
Correct.
That is something that
there's a lot of people out there.
That's something that every one of us faces, and we forget that the person, and not even just a coffee. Think about going to a supermarket and taking a steak off of the shelf. The amount of people involved in getting it there, never, and now complaining, I can't believe that I have to pay this much for it. Never taking into account that the person who was at the foundational work of getting that thing to you possibly can't even eat tonight.
Yeah. That's the reason why I'm glad we're doing this, because we can make a difference, even if it's only on the coffee farms. There will be people that will see what we are doing, and it might spark something in a different industry. So I think it might be a bigger effect than just the coffee farms, but because we love coffee and we enjoy the coffee.
Coffee is connected to everything. Every single restaurant serves coffee, which means if the coffee standard can change, starting at the coffee level, so at the coffee shop or the coffee brewer on the coffee farm, then we're basically helping the milk farmer. We're helping, sadly to say, we're helping the sugar farmer. I mean, I've got nothing against the sugar itself.
I don't think we're going to help the sugar farmer. I think we're going to sink the industry. Coca-Cola, you better sell a lot more.
But what I mean is, we're still helping the farmer, because remember, as we sit here, we've got nothing against the sugar. Sugar is there to create and formulate balance inside your mouth.
Yes.
It's just if you make the coffee the way it should be made and you pull it to a balanced point, you don't need the sugar.
Yes.
But if you enjoy sugar, I mean, by all means, add 5 spoons of sugar to your coffee. But don't
get a dark roast then.
Yeah, then go and buy a coffee that actually needs a sugar. And be open towards going, oh, this coffee doesn't need sugar.
Yeah.
Let me taste it. Oh, wow, I can appreciate what I've got in my mouth. Even though I will be adding now 1 spoon instead of 5, because I still like sweet things. But then at least we love the fact that you took the courage to at least try and then become aware of what was beautiful inside that cup when we started.
Yeah.
So it is helping, the sugar farmer, because they're also still farming. But it then, it moves up from there to restaurants that sell coffee. Now all of a sudden they're kind of forced to sell better coffee and actually start paying baristas to work for them, because you don't just take the waiter to put some coffee into a portafilter and pull a shot and them complain that they're being misused or they're being overworked and not being paid enough, because they're actually a waiter and now they're being told to make coffee at the same time. Actually pay the barista a proper salary because he went out to learn how to make a proper coffee.
And it's an art.
And it's an art, and now he's getting paid a decent salary because he's got his professionalism or his artistic side making that beautiful cup of coffee. Even he can look after his family now financially. So it's the whole ecosystem.
And then on filling in one of the things that I was thinking about while you were talking, while listening,
I like how you added that.
Was a higher standard in coffee will push coffee shop owners to allow and almost demand from their baristas to actually taste what they are serving.
Yes.
Because how horrible to have a barista who sells you a cup of coffee, and then when you ask them, listen, do you drink your own espresso? No, it's disgusting.
Yesterday we met a barista that doesn't even drink coffee.
Yeah.
She does not drink coffee.
She
made us an espresso, and this is really, really sad to me. Now, she was not actually the barista. Let's be honest. I think she's again, for the restaurant owners out there, don't use your kitchen staff to make coffee.
No, please no.
I'm sure she was a kitchen staff, and she loves what she does. Now she's told she needs to make a coffee, so she just kind of flattens out the coffee, pops it into the machine, and runs a shot in 7 seconds volumetrically.
Yeah.
So within 7 seconds, this beautiful, expensive La Marzocco espresso machine pulled a shot 2 volumetrics into the cup, which we can all imagine what that's going to taste like.
That's like putting dash phone in a Rolls Royce.
Okay. I did not go there, but yes.
But the thing is, and that goes back to one of our podcasts that we recorded is the equipment. It's not about the equipment because they've got a Malkuni E63.
Yeah, E62. Yeah, E62. Sorry. Yes.
2.
La Marzocco 2 group. And
it's the best equipment, but the barista or the person that made the coffee did not know what to do.
Yeah, wasn't trained. And that's on the shop owner.
Yeah, and when we just said, can you maybe do a little bit of adjustment? That girl started shaking so much. She stressed so much. Sure. She didn't know what's happening. So it's just small things like that. Like you said,
So there's no respect for coffee from, again, like you just mentioned, you started with the coffee shop owner.
Yeah.
Guys, it's our responsibility to get to a position where we love the stuff we serve to our clients so much that we're not willing to let our kitchen staff jump on a machine. It's not doing the coffee justice or the coffee ecosystem justice.
No. And also not to your client.
No,
definitely not to. You're stealing from that client because they're getting a 2% extracted TDS from something that should have been beautiful.
Yeah.
There was value for the money they were willing to pay. Now they're going to go around saying, oh, that coffee shop's coffee sucks. The coffee doesn't suck. The barista was never trained to make a proper coffee.
Oh no, the person behind the machine was never trained to make a proper coffee.
Yes. What did I just say?
The barista.
Oh, sorry. I mean the person. Yes.
And that's true.
It should be baristas.
Yeah. And that, like you said, that is on the owners. They have to make sure that the person that's behind the coffee machine has the proper training. Or is specialized in what they do.
You don't want to pay a barista a salary? Don't have a coffee machine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
You're doing the coffee and the whole ecosystem injustice. Stop it. My goodness.
Yeah.
Get a bean to cup.
Yes, get a bean to cup. At least those machinery are built to pull a certain standard.
Yeah.
Now, if it's not your standard, great. But it's still a standard.
And then at least and I have to say, then at least I think you're supporting somebody. And that's why we never bash or we never judge anyone who has a bean to cup machine or has a convenient way of making coffee at home. Because somebody at some point understood that if everyone in the world spent 20 minutes a day making their cup of coffee, they would be consistently running around just to try to catch up because of the time that they spent on a cup of coffee.
Right. To actually slow down.
So somebody cared enough, even if it was just about themselves, cared enough to create a whole new machine to create convenience for good coffee at home.
Yeah. Exactly.
So at least they get a bean to cup machine. You'll be supporting somebody who actually was innovative in his space.
And he loved what he did.
Yes.
And you can still get good, decent coffee out of the machine.
Which is exactly why I'm saying this.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, you're not gonna have to serve bad coffee because you're not willing to pay a barista to make coffee.
Yeah.
Just get the machine. The machine will do its thing, what it's built for, and the people can have a decent cup of coffee.
And you can get a good coffee. You don't necessarily need to get a 91 Q grade specialty coffee, put it through a bean to cup machine. You can get a decent cup of coffee and provide your clients or your staff with something that is nice and accessible.
Value.
To give them the value, but not have them lick an ashtray out of a cup.
So that was our stories. Now your story, Mr.
Oh,
Larue.
wow. Mine is very easy. Just go listen to the coffee price episode.
Yeah.
I think a lot of my passion came through there.
I listened to it the other day and I was just like, this guy's frustrated.
Yeah. So,
but
if you've not listened to it, do go and listen to the episode Coffee Prices to kind of just like sum it all up. I got to a point where I got fed up with the people out there trying to stealing from the farm by selling a cheap bought coffee for really expensive prices. then
and not giving a portion to the farm.
Yeah.
not
So they
giving
buy
anything
it
to the
cheap
farm.
and sell it expensive
give
to
it to
make to fill up their pockets.
Yes.
But then doing a disservice to the farm and a disservice to the
Now,
farm.
this doesn't count just for coffee. I mean, this is in the whole industry.
Yes.
You don't build a rubbish piece of car that's not going to drive 2 miles and then sell it for the price of a Porsche. And if you're buying that car, that's on you. But but unfortunately, in coffee, we've not been educated enough, which means an uneducated person walks into a coffee shop with professionals, expecting them to give them a professional service and a professional opinion. Then you take liberty of that, you steal from them because you're not giving them the value that they're paying for. Number one. That means at the same time you're stealing from the farmer and the roaster and the processor and the importer and exporter, because none of them see any of that. And you're just enriching yourself, not caring. So I think my biggest frustration and why I originally felt that there was a necessity for the TC coin basically came down to selfishness. You know, people that are so selfish and they're so self-centered that they live only for themselves and not think about anybody around them. And again, this goes for the whole world really, but it just conveniently put me in well, I came to it in a position of coffee as a non-coffee drinker. And I was like, this is pathetic. How can they do this with open? How do you sleep at night knowing you enrich yourself through basically stealing from the rest of the world? And that was my frustration. And so I was like, well, I think there would be a way to change this. And I never would have been able to build this thing, you know, to this point where it is now, has it not been for the four of you. And of course, we'll never be able to build this thing.
Oh, you mean me when I'm tired and wait, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
The three
Sorry,
the three of us.
The three of you.
Just the 3 of us.
And of course, we know that we're not going to be able to build this idea or this dream to its full potential just with the four of us. I think I was running ahead in my mind.
Yes.
And so if you're out there and you're listening to this episode, we need you. We're not sitting here to build this business for ourselves. We are here to build this business for the world coffee ecosystem. This is not our thing. It's the coffee thing.
It's our thing.
And I think that's probably why
Our thing.
Yes, our.
the
But that's
world,
exactly what
yes.
Stefan was saying as well. It's like
It's our thing.
he was talking
Yes.
about such a big milestone or such a big project that he's looking to take on. But the thing is that we don't have to take it on just the four of us. We are building community so that we can come and do it as
A community.
a community
As
of
a
people that are
community,
able to get
yes.
together.
And the bigger the community, the more influence we can have, and
Exactly.
the more change we can bring to the coffee.
Exactly.
A big dream doesn't start and end with the same people. A proper legacy starts by a group of people and ends with everyone.
100%, yes.
Definitely.
But even on the point that you made earlier, and I think it's one thing that you and Christian do phenomenally, is the education around coffee. Because I mean, at the end of the day, when I was drinking coffee, I didn't know I was drinking nonsense. It's only once I
coffee flavored tea. It wasn't nonsense. It's coffee flavored
well, I mean,
tea.
even when I would drink dark roast cappuccinos, and now I don't drink. Now my drink is double espresso or it's ristretto.
Ooh.
I mean,
that's why they sit in the middle.
We're lots alike, like at the end of the day.
The end of that
The
day.
end of the day.
So I mean, that's one thing that you guys do phenomenally, and I didn't know that I was drinking nonsense until I drank good coffee. Because at the end of the day, I was just drinking bad coffee, thinking it was good. I didn't have any experience with a good cup of coffee until I did. Then that's ruined.
And then a week later, he came and said, "Listen, you ruined me forever." I went back to yes.
I remember that Sunday.
It was the next Sunday. He came in with his CV. Was it the next day or the next week? It was the next week.
The next week on the Sunday.
Yeah, because you came in with your CV, everything,
yes.
and
obviously took the CV to the boss.
yes, walked straight up to him. And in my heart of hearts, I'm like, please hire him. Please hire him. Please hire him.
Because we like this guy.
Yes, it was so amazing to meet somebody, and we'll get back to, but to meet somebody, and I love meeting people like this every single day, who in a half of a conversation you can kind of find the link and the passion, and to see how we then learn from one another and how passion ignites passion. But I'm completely off my point. I'm so enamored by that meeting point. But coming back and then saying, right, you guys ruined coffee for me forever. And I had 4 people this week come to me and say, listen, you ruined it forever. I went back to my normal coffee spot. I could not drink that coffee.
And we want to ruin everybody's
And you see, that's the thing
life,
when it comes
coffee life.
100%, and that all takes education. I mean, and the more people that get exposed to it, it's going to happen. I mean, like, let's say, for example, a different analogy. They would take that same person that would then go as a waiter, that would then put in and pull a shot of espresso to make whatever recipe drink, cappuccino, flat white, whatever, and then you're not going to get what you paid for because the person doesn't know what they're doing. Imagine taking that same person to now go and make a medium rare filet. And let that piece of steak go out to that person, well done. That person is going to lose their mind.
They will flip out.
But
probably throw the steak around and
but that's like putting somebody in a Michelin star restaurant.
Yes.
And then saying, okay, cool, just do it because we have a spot to fill. There's orders to make. Just go.
Yeah.
But the
so
thing is,
just do the position.
But the customer will not stand for that. Will not pay for that product because they know they know what they want.
The restaurant will actually lose one of its Michelin stars.
Well, exactly.
And they do. But why is there such a standard on food, yet no one cares about the second largest legal trading commodity in the world?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's when we ruin your coffee experience. So that's why I say we want to ruin all of you out there. We want to ruin it for you, because when we ruin it for you, you're gonna go back to your normal coffee spot and you're gonna say, listen, what you are serving is not the standard.
Well, it's not what it could be.
There's more potential.
Yes, it's not what it could be.
Yeah, there's more potential, and find out how to better the coffee you have. Don't all come to our shop because now we serve better coffee.
Please no, because then we never have a place. No, but then we'd never have a place to go and enjoy a different cup of coffee.
Because we love driving down the road having someone else's espresso.
Yeah, and the thing is, we don't want to do it to get everybody to us. We want to do it so that you can go out to your normal coffee spot and teach them to make them realize that they need to educate themselves more on coffee and make a better cup of coffee.
And on that, I had a client this week come to me. No, not this week, it was last week. He came and he ordered, and his phrasing was, can I have one traditional flat white?
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Nice.
And then in my heart, I'm like,
I'm blooming.
And so as I tell the guy who I'm training at the time, because we're not done coffee training yet, we're doing operations and so on. So I said, you know what? Okay, cool. Go do this in the kitchen, and I stopped preparing to make the coffee. He says, so listen, do you guys ever have a client come and order a traditional flat white, and then you're like, oh, this guy knows his coffee? I said, well, no. So I feel like
know who you're talking to.
No.
yes, we three, yes. Okay, sorry.
Responding, well, no. It's more like, yes, he knows his coffee.
Yes, yeah.
Because I get excited. I get excited when people challenge me to make a good cup. I had a client yesterday, Melissa can tell you about this, who said he wants a cappuccino, but in a small cup but a double shot. I said, okay, you know what? Can I make you a traditional flat white? He said, okay, cool. I want strong, and I don't like a lot of milk. I want the creaminess, but not the milk. So, okay, you know what? I'll make you a flat white, and if you don't like it, I'll pay for it, and then I'll make you what you want.
And of course,
he took one sip, not 3. I asked him to take 2. He took one sip, and then he threw his card on the counter. He said, I'll pay. And he comes back, and he says, listen, that was a good cup of coffee. That was phenomenal. And I have to be honest, that guy scared me. It was a humongous tank in a gym. Man, he was huge. He could use me as a freaking toothpick.
And be like as pedantic as you are.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous man.
And I told him,
we must get him to change the cup.
I can't make you what you want. Well, I can make you what you want, but can I give you an alternative, a recipe that I love and that I love to serve to people, and can I just educate you on this? And he freaked out about it. people that come back. A guy who used to be a barista or operator, who's now an electrician, who made the outright statement on the same day that I served this guy, can't drink espresso. I can't drink it black. It is horrible to me. I said, okay, but have you tasted our espresso? It's like, no man, it's horrible. I said, but have you tasted our espresso? It's like, well, no. I said, okay, I'm gonna give you a smoothie with 2 scoops of protein and a scoop of cocoa, which means that anything I give you, you can wash away with 1 sip. Will you taste an espresso with me? And I will pay for it. So you guys can obviously gather that if I'm not successful, I'm gonna be poor.
Yeah.
So which is why
He's paying for everything.
I'm gonna be broke if I'm not successful. But I'm willing to stake that.
But you are confident in what you do.
Yes.
Because you love what you do.
And he tasted 3 times, and while I'm talking, he goes, and he goes back, and he takes my cup, and he finishes my espresso. I said, so did you like it? Like, oh yeah. Now he still comes back for a smoothie,
but he loves espresso now.
But he loves the espresso.
And I think that's the whole thing. It's about showing people what coffee could be.
Yeah.
And the thing
because
is,
it's not necessarily what we think it is.
You would even get excited making it, because here this
Oh,
gentleman
yes.
thought that you're gonna go up in arms like, oh no. You actually get excited. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
why I pulled all of my recipes as best as I could, always.
to the T.
100%, because I wanted to please the people that are busy ordering what they're busy ordering. And like you said, it becomes so enjoyable once you see the reaction on the face.
It really is.
There's nothing like the satisfaction of a client taking a sip of something they adore, think or not knowing what to expect, and you get that satisfaction on their face.
Exactly.
That's why I got into food originally.
The first double ristretto that he had to make for a client that was sitting at table 8 is the guy who comes back every 2 weeks. They're doing all the deliveries at the shop now with his 2 little girls. You know who I'm talking about.
that guy, yes.
He asked the
Regular.
waiter. Yes, he asked the waiter, can you guys make a double ristretto? And the waiter comes to me super confused. Now also to say, we actually spent more time on educating our waiters as well.
Yeah.
But like, listen, this is what he wants. I said, that's simple. Go to Johan, like, listen, please make a double ristretto. And I remember the shock on his face. Really?
Who's gonna drink that?
And I said, you know what, put it for me at this ratio. So he comes to me, espresso cup, little beans on the side, cup of water. He's like,
You know.
and I love
You
how
can
it's
see
not.
who trained him.
It's not. This is the double ristretto. It ran to this mils, point this. It ran in this time, and not because all baristas have to be pedantic, but it was the time, the effort, and the passion that was put into that coffee.
Yeah.
And the guy's face, literally, and one of our episodes, if you watch the YouTube of the coffee that I tasted, you remember
that Ecuador.
So just
That
go into
Ecuador.
Instagram. I think
Yeah.
it was it wasn't a story.
It wasn't a story, but I do have the video. I'll be posting it soon.
Yeah, let's put it on a
It was
post.
alright, you're right.
I cut it out.
Took
Yeah.
a sip and then he was like this. It was such shock, eyes the size of saucers, because he was like, this is amazing. I said, well, yeah, our barista, Mr. Costa, did this, and this, and this. This is the recipe, and this is the coffee that we serve. And he comes back every week, and then when he sits down with his little girls, he's like, so what are we tasting today?
Exactly. He's excited about that next cup of coffee, and I want him to be that excited when he gets to Cape Town or to New York or to Australia. I want him to feel that way everywhere he goes, knowing in his mind that he is going to get something that's satisfying.
Yes.
The heartbreak or the heartache in my heart right now is I can't say that with confidence.
Yeah.
Because right now there's more people out there for their pocket than there is people that actually care about the coffee itself.
No, it's just the majority of people that don't care. A client who comes and asks, listen, I'm going to this country or this space. Do you know of any specialty coffee there? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
I'll have to go research.
Mhm.
Compared to having a client who's South African, who comes back from Tennessee, he's like, Guys,
You gotta taste
I
this.
found this coffee. So now when people tell me they go to Tennessee, I can just tell them, listen, go to Crema.
You have to.
I'll
Yes.
give you the address. Taste this coffee. It's phenomenal.
Right.
So now knowing, listen, there's specialty coffee.
Yeah.
There's people that put in the time. There's people that put in the effort. And why not hear that story every day from people from different spaces?
Exactly.
And that's what we want to create.
Yeah.
Is a community
That cares.
that cares, and that helps each other to get better coffee, to make better coffee, to roast better coffee,
That's it.
that kind of stuff, so that everybody can be satisfied no matter where they go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I think that probably brings us to the end of the official introduction.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, every cup is empty.
There we go.
Yeah, so good job, Urban Grind.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, so, well, guys, we hope that this was informative. Now, of course, you know where our hearts lie, you know where we come from. And just to say this again, we do this because we really, really care. We want to bring a community together that can care together to make the world of coffee a better place.
So that,
It's not about us.
and I think, and I'll rephrase it again, so that the world can find its happy place in every single cup.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
See you on the next episode.
Cheers.